Following the release of Chapter 79, we can conclude the fact that the story has taken a massive turn. As you'll probably be aware now if you've watched my previous videos or read the chapter yourself, you'll know that Ada has used omnipotence, effectively meaning that everybody's private shadow recognition of Boruto and Kawaki has been switched on a planetary scale so it affects everybody on the planet. However, I'm not going to do a chapter review, which is why this video is coming out later, as I think my previous video covered a chapter at a decent enough level, and at this point any mistakes and mistranslations in the spoilers that I covered in the previous video would have been covered by other YouTubers at this point, and I'm just going to leave that because in this video I'm going to be looking at Amado. We've all known the guy is very suspicious for a while now. However, this chapter has managed to raise my suspicions about him even further than what it was before. From what we know so far, Amado wants to revive his daughter, and I know some people do think that he could be lying about this, but I think it's a lot more simpler than what people are taking this to be. So beforehand, people didn't think that Amado was telling the truth because we hadn't seen or been told about Otsutsuki being able to revive the dead, so people assumed that he was lying. But as we now know, Kawaki through Ada is able to use omnipotence, and what the omnipotence is, for what Momoshiki explained, is that it allows one to bring into reality their deepest desires. And though Ada is not Otsutsuki, so she can't use it to the fullest extent that she could, I think Kawaki's be pivotal in this, because maybe he could have the omnipotence by eating a chakra fruit maybe, or something like that. Which would explain why he is so important to Amado. Because when Amado was first approached by Jigen about joining Nikara, we know that Jigen promised him something, which is the reason why he agreed to help out Jigen. And at first, people weren't too sure about what he was promised. But I think that now that Jigen promised Amado that he would be able to help revive his daughter by using omnipotence, and that all that Amado had to do was help Jigen find a new vessel for Ishiki. This would explain why Amado was so horrified when he found out about the truth about what Jigen's plan was, because he probably didn't tell him the full details about what he wanted to do once he acquired his vessel from Amado. So when he found out that it was going to cost the whole planet, because I don't think Amado is a bad person, like I feel like he's a good guy, but he's just really obsessed about reviving his daughter and he's taking it to the extremes. So I feel like that deep down he is a good person, which does explain why he was so horrified when he found out that Ishiki's plan was to destroy the planet by cultivating a chakra fruit. This also explains that when the cyborgs were ordered to be decommissioned by Jigen, that Amado didn't destroy them and instead they were hidden in Boro's hideout. This is because he knew that Ada was going to be very important to his plan, as she's going to have to be the gateway for Kawaki to using his karma, which is why he also re-implanted the karma to Kawaki. Ada was going to be the gateway for Kawaki to be able to use the omnipotence. And using omnipotence, I believe Amado was planning to have Kawaki revive his daughter by entering, as he stated himself, the domain of the gods. Because this is the Shinjutsu or Shinjutsu, as Momoshiki said. This is the highest level of Shinjutsu that allowed the gods to create a world with it. So if the gods were able to create a world with this Shinjutsu, omnipotence, there's nothing stopping Kawaki, who's now Otsutsuki, to be able to use the omnipotence to just merely revive his daughter. And I believe that's what he was promised by Jigen when he first signed up with Kara, that Jigen was going to attain the omnipotence and use this to ascend to godhood. But before he did so, he promised that he would help Amado revive his daughter. So what is Amado's plan now? Well, this does depend on whether, and hinges on the fact that whether Amado is affected by Ada's omnipotence or not. If he has been affected, then I'm not too sure where to take this. But if he has not been affected by Ada's omnipotence, then I do think that what his plan was, and maybe still is to have Ada and Kawaki come together, use the omnipotence, because again, we're using omnipotence. This is the power that the gods use to create worlds, as stated by Momoshiki. So using this power, it was always to revive his daughter. But you might be wondering, how is he going to convince Kawaki and Ada to revive his daughter? Well, as we know, Amado is a very crafty guy, and I feel like he was going to manipulate them using their desires and their wishes in order to make this happen. I'm not too sure how he would have done this, but knowing Amado, he probably cooked up a way in his mind of like how he was going to manipulate the two of them, because he was going to play on their emotions, similar to how he manipulated Kawaki emotionally and mentally into implanting the karma back onto them. And as we do know, Amado does have a shutdown code for Kawaki. So knowing how crafty Amado was, what's stopping him from having a code? What's stopping him from having another verbal code that, when triggered, it will cause Kawaki to carry out the omnipotence with Ada in order to revive his daughter? That was what I believe Amado's plan and goal is, though this does depend on whether he's been affected by the omnipotence. But as far as I'm aware of so far, and I'm guessing that he's not affected, that's what I believe Amado's plan was, is to get Kawaki and Ada to come together, use the omnipotence, maybe by either emotional or mental manipulation, or by having a code that will trigger the two of them to do this, revive his daughter. Because I don't think Amado is a bad guy deep down inside, but what I do think is that he is very emotionally charged himself, though he does come off as more cool. But his obsession for reviving his daughter and his desperation has caused him to go over the edge and do things that no human should probably do. And his hurting from the loss of his daughter is causing him to hurt others in order to achieve his goals. So yeah, that was the video. Hope you guys enjoyed that. That's what I believe Amado's plan is, but you might have your own ideas and perspectives on this. So drop your opinions in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think about this, what you think Amado's plan is, whether you agree with me, whether you agree with parts of what I think and disagree with other parts, and where do you think his character has been taken as a whole. And I'll catch you guys in a bit. Peace.